I've been meaning to just goof off in Banjo-Kazooie nuts and bolts and build stupid shit and show you some of the stupid shit that I've built. I shit you not. Let me just highlight how crazy Banjo-Kazooie nuts and bolts is. We played that game so much and built so many dumb things that we were getting away with stuff you're not supposed to do in that game. Like we built like a spinning drum, like an old push lawnmower, a big drum with spikes that spun, and you're not supposed to do that. We just abused the rocket engines and like the tow hooks to force it to spin. We built I tried to make something with the chain, so I built like the Dr. Robotnik boss from Sonic 1 where he swings the big wrecking ball around. And then we decided, well, what would happen if you took the chain and replaced it with the long pole, and at the end, using the knowledge that we had of making things spin that aren't supposed to be able to spin, what if at the end of that you made a big fire swastika that just spun around and dragged along the ground and just fucking annihilated everything that you ran into? I made nuts and bolts sound fun. Nuts and bolts is fun. And everyone who hates nuts and bolts was like, I wanted Banjo 3. Fuck off. The way I feel about nuts and bolts is that somebody at Rare or Microsoft or whoever had an idea for a action puzzle game where you build cars to do things, and somebody else at Microsoft was like, that's a good idea, but I don't think it's a good enough idea to stand up on its own. We better slip in an IP that we own to put characters that people know in the game and then make the game. So they just did Banjo-Kazooie because everyone knows Banjo-Kazooie, and if you don't play it expecting it to have been the third Banjo-Kazooie game, if you play it for what it is, it's a really fun game. My only gripe about nuts and bolts is that you cannot build cars and fight them. You can't. That's the worst thing. You were so close. Can you imagine how fucking insane it would be if me and Reflex, or if like Steel Pinata was still here, if he drove the fucking fire swastika Dr. Robotnik machine of death, and I drove the giant dinosaur foot that just flies around and just stomps on things to death. Can you imagine how fucking crazy that would be if those got to fight? That's just two things we built. I didn't tell you about the castle that doesn't move. It just spins around and shoots lasers everywhere. I didn't tell you about that. I didn't tell you about the I told you about the drum thing. I didn't tell you about the fucking the box with the huggy arms to corral people, and then all the weapons on the side just fire straight in. So after it pushes people around and it corrals you into the wall, it just shoots guns this way and then flames out the front and just murders you. It just fucks you up. And we have it built because you can damage yourself with your own ammunition. So the arms on the sides are jagged, and the weapons are staggered, so that the lasers just shoot through the gaps on the other side so it doesn't break itself. We put so much bullshit fake engineering into these things we built, and we couldn't fight them. That was the worst part of that game for me. It's like we worked so hard. I want to fight the swastika against the dinosaur foot. I want to do that. I just want to see who would win. Who would win? Who would win? Who do you think would win? I can't tell you who would win. Because obviously the foot has the advantage because it's a dinosaur foot with rockets underneath it that just flies up and then comes back down. So it has the ability to fly. The fire swastika does not. That rides along the ground and just cuts things apart. But so theoretically if the foot stomps on the Dr. Robotnik Nazi machine, then it wins. But what if the foot misses and the fire swastika comes in and fucking makes the Third Reich happen? What then? Who wins? Who wins? We will never know. But I want to play that. I want to play that game. I've been talking about that for way too fucking long. I hope that's entertaining. Like, I don't. Every time I talk about dumb shit like that, and I go off on a tangent, I always think, like, part of me is like, Draco, these fucking people are watching you and they're laughing at you, not with you. You're fucking crazy. You're a goddamn idiot, Draco. So we're talking about good games, Demonic Void. But lasers. No, it is cool. What we did, Electric Sheep City, since you were really intrigued by the castle, is we built a big square tower with the little things on top to make it look like a castle. And on the bottom, it has like a little skirt that goes around the side to deflect things away from it. And then at the bottom, on the bottom of the castle, is a single spike weapon. And that's the point. That's the point that it spins on. And on the top of the castle, we put a bunch of hot air balloons, not to make it float up, but to raise it so that it balances on that point. And then all along the outside of the top of the castle are just rocket engines that all face clockwise. So when you hit the trigger to go forward, it just engages like 8 rocket engines, and it just starts to spin. And then at the bottom of the castle are laser guns and machine guns and flamethrowers that just spray everywhere. Theoretically you can't beat it because you cannot destroy it. You cannot get close enough to the moving, spinning castle of the apocalypse to do any damage to it. You would not be able to. But by BattleBot's rules, it would be counted out because the castle is completely immobile because it just spins. It only spins. That's all it can do. We built dumb shit. It's a good game. I love it. I love it. I wasted so much time playing Nuts and Bolts.